the variation is so different that you would kill a human if you tried to use the chimp, ape, gorilla DNA.
What the fuck? Okay, but whatever the fuck this guy said. If you inject a human with ape blood, you will kill them? Of course you're gonna fucking kill them. What's up, heathens? How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing alright. I'm doing pretty fucking spectacular until we watch this goddamn video. Before we get into the video, though, please do go down below and consider supporting Engineers Without Borders through our CrowdRise link. Alright, let's bring on the shock of God. I guess. Yes, this shit is definitely important. Not only did Donald Trump put somebody in a very prominent position in government where she wants to fucking, start teaching creationism in the classroom, I think this shit is very important. So, fuck that. Play this goddamn clip.
They'll say that they do not believe or they reject or whatever. Well, that doesn't prove that atheism's true. You've got to give some arguments.
I'll be the first to tell you, probably not the first, but you don't have to provide any arguments at all. This is what's called shifting the burden of proof. Very basic logical fallacy, one that is a staple of shock of God. He wants you to prove your atheism, otherwise his position is true. He's acting like you're making a claim when you're really not, you're just saying, I don't buy your bullshit. He shifts the burden of proof, that way he doesn't have to prove his God.
One of the arguments atheists try to use is evolution.
No, that's not an argument against God. Although, I will say that it is an argument against creationism. Mainly because creationism is based off a doctrine that spouts a whole bunch of bullshit. Kind of like how, I remember in that one video to the Camo Christian, talked about how, animals in the Bible fuck to get stripes. Now, in case you don't know, here's a clip. Which one is more plausible, okay? A. Stripes evolved because animals were able to survive better and procreate within their species and whatnot because stripes allow them to hide and camouflage themselves in whatever area they're in. Take tigers, for instance. They're able to hide because of their vertical stripes and everything like that. Take jaguars. Of course, they're completely black. Or some of them are completely black. Others are spotted or whatnot, but those allow them to hide better and whatnot, and that allowed them to survive. Or B over here for Bible that says that some guy several thousand years ago said, hey, you, get over in front of that speckled tree over there and fuck while I watch. Well, okay, it's not creepy on all deliverance-y like that, but he said that you should pretty much have animals fuck in front of striped, spotted, speckled trees, and they would end up with speckled kids. Like, can you imagine, like, fucking in front of a wallpaper that's just got a horrible design? So, basically, in the Bible, that's how animals get their stripes and shit. Which one makes more logical sense? It's definitely not the animals fucking in the trees and getting spots on their little kids. That doesn't make any kind of fucking sense at all, now does it? If you fuck in front of a tree, you're not going to get a striped kid out of it.
But evolution doesn't really prove that atheism is true. In fact, the theory of abiogenesis and everything basically crawled out of the slime, that's now falling to the wayside. No one really believes that anymore. They're saying the conditions were not present for life to exist that way.
Okay, so he's basically bullshitting at this point. The entire scientific community isn't saying that abiogenesis is non-viable. He probably read one paper from a creation tard and is spouting off that, hey, science is saying that abiogenesis is no longer viable. Boom, atheist, what do you got now? But that is not what science says. Actually, if you go and look at it on Google, you will find multiple articles where we actually prove RNA self-replicating and how the RNA model of the world could have evolved into some kind of life. I think that's an awesome explanation that gets around whatever a creation person says about abiogenesis. Like, Shock of God here says that it's non-Bible, that there wasn't the conditions that were met. There may be some that feel that way, but I can guarantee you the entire scientific community doesn't feel that way, and more importantly, though, the research doesn't say. One of the biggest misconceptions centering around abiogenesis and where life comes from here on Earth is panspermia. In case you don't know, panspermia is basically where some like primordial organisms or primordial RNA that was already self-replicating or whatnot that landed here via meteorite, and that is how shit started. Like, that's how life started. That's one theory. It's not like a proven theory yet. It's just like a really good one that's out there. But they like to misrepresent it as aliens. You're telling me aliens created us? No Martian created us. You're just a stupid dummy dumb. That's not what panspermia is. Yeah, it is. I know it. I know panspermia, and that means the great aliens created us from Mars. I quit. Just fuck it.
So some atheists will say, well, we believe that everything, and you can ask them, they'll say, we believe that everything came out of the water, was created out of the water, not out of the slime, but out of the water or out of the earth.
Well, if you know your evolutionary theory at all and the thoughts about how things have actually evolved in the environment of the early Earth, then you would know that we think that it fucking came from the water. All life came from the water. That's because that is where life first started to form. Fucking water. But for you to just whittle it down to, oh, they think that life was created in the water, and then it crawled out, and then it crawled out of the ground. That's retarded as fuck. I'm surprised you know how to ride that motorcycle at all. Please don't die. I can't show a death right now on my channel. It's just now starting to get big. Please don't die. I know it's kind of hard to ride the motorcycle, but...
Well, that's what the Bible says. The Bible says that God formed them and created them out of the earth and out of the water. So you could say atheists are creationists, couldn't you? But they are creationists. Atheists are creationists. But
atheists are creationists? The fuck does that make sense? Like, he said, atheists, or that sounds like creationism. But atheists are creationists. Like, that sentence doesn't make sense. Atheists are not creationists unless you want to define creationism as, yes, I think that man created God. Unless you're defining it as that, I'm not a fucking creationist. Creationism has a very specific definition and is very much like part of the Abrahamic faiths as to how this world became populated with animals, life, how the universe was formed, like all of that shit. That is what creationism is. And you are a creationist. I am not.
They are creationists. Atheists are creationists. But they believe nothing did it.
Again, that is not what atheism says at all. Not every atheist is going to believe that. It's a straw man. Again, straw man and logical fallacies are just a staple for this motherfucker.
That's what they believe. I'm a creationist. I believe God created. God creating is much more rational than nothing creating.
I guess it depends on how you define rational. If you define rational as thinking a magical wizard in the sky created everything with a snap of his fingers and yelling abracadabra into space, then I guess, yeah, you're rational. But if you mean rational as in having evidence for the things that you believe and only really believing in reality, believing in things that you can experience in reality, then I'd say that atheists are the more rational ones because we actually have evidence to say that everything was created out of nothing. You're doing the ambiguity fallacy again. Good on you for keeping up with the fallacies, though.
So, you have atheists talking about evolution, but I want you to picture evolution like this. We're going to use the motorcycle.
Oh, yay! Another example with the evolution and a motorcycle. I can't wait to see what pops out of this shit pile.
As an example. There's the factory at Yamaha that was created by humans. The factory didn't create itself. And you do have some humans helping to assemble the motorcycle. Now, is it true that over time the Yamaha has changed? We'll even use the word evolved. Yeah, it has changed over time. So is evolution talking about how the Yamaha was created? It's not, is it? Isn't it? Evolution also is not talking about, nor does it have an explanation for, how mankind was created.
Okay, this is a bit of a confusing topic the way that you brought it up. Because you're both right and wrong in this little section here. You're right at the beginning when you say that evolution doesn't account for how life started on Earth. That's not part of the theory of evolution. Evolution is just a description of how things change over long periods of time. So you're right in that instance. Like, you're right on that point. But then you take a hard left turn right into Fuckville, and you get all fuckered up, and now you're trying to drag me into Fuckville with you down at the bar. Fuck me in the ass bar is where you're at. Because evolution doesn't need a explanation for how things got here, like as far as how life began. That's not the theory of evolution. But then you pound another hard fuck me in the ass shot from the fuck me in the ass real hard bar. You state that evolution doesn't have an explanation for how man came to be here, which is wrong again, because we know how man got here. We evolved out of apes, a common ancestor between us and the others in the others in the great ape family. We had a common ancestor that evolved out of the apes that were in Africa, and we migrated across the entire world. Australopithecus, that was found in Africa, lived between 3 million and 2.75 million years ago. So, I mean, that's the earliest ancestor that we have for humans, and so that's how long humans have been evolving. Keep in mind, 3 million years is a bit longer than abracadabra, and poof, the world, humans, land, animals, plants, everything just got created. The second I went like that. Abracadabra. Yeah.
All it's talking about is it's a theory on how things change. Like if I said to you, well, how did this Yamaha come into existence? And let's say you had a friend that was an atheist, and here's how he answers it. You and I are sitting there, and I ask you guys, how did this Yamaha come into existence? And your friend said, well, in 1999, it looked like this, but then it evolved, and now it looks like this. Is your friend answering the question? No. He's just talking about how the Yamaha changed after it was created. And this is the problem for atheists. They just don't get it.
This motherfucker serious? Is this motherfucker serious? I honestly can't believe that you're serious right now. Because, I mean, that is the exact argument that I just gave you for how man got here. But you're refusing to accept that argument because apparently I need to explain how Yamaha, the company, came into existence and built their first fucking motorcycle in order to explain how your motorcycle was built. See, this is how you creationists, you creatards, like to impose like your version of creation, your version of how this world came to be onto evolutionary theory, because you require everything to be created or everything to evolve in an instant, kind of like a fucking Pokemon. When in reality, it takes millions and millions of years. And yeah, the slow changes from Australopithecus to fucking now is how humans came to be. There wasn't a single creator of it. It was a long fucking process. Also, I'd like to point out the false analogy here. You can't exactly compare a machine to human evolution, like how a machine came to be to human evolution. Because a machine, of course, is intelligently designed by humans. Human evolution, though, we have natural processes that explain how we evolved into our current state. We don't have a fucking natural process that says a Yamaha put itself to fucking together. That's dumb as fuck. And if you want to consider it, it's a straw man too at this point. Starting to think that maybe you're just a straw man on a bike.
They talk about evolution, which is a theory on how things change after the human or the species or the fish or whatever was created. So what we're talking about, we want to know how the Yamaha was created. So you, being an intelligent person, you turn to your friend who's an atheist and you go, look, that doesn't make any sense. He's asking, how was a Yamaha created? And all you're talking about is how it changed over time, and the body style changed over time, and the motor changed over time, and the exhaust system changed over time. You're not talking about how it was created. So you look at me and you go, you know, it was created because it's a product of intelligent design. The factory was created by humans, and then the factory spits out these parts. You see, that's the proper answer. But by telling me how the Yamaha changed over time, you're not disproving that this is a product of intelligent design. All you're talking about is how things change. Now,
did I hear that right? Are you wanting me to prove that a bike is not a product of intelligent design? And you're comparing that to evolution? This is a dumb as fuck argument. Like, I don't even know why this is a fucking argument, like, at all. Like, why is he even saying any of this? Because it has no relation to evolution whatsoever. I would also say that it borders on begging the question, because it's like, you know, well, how did humans get created? That presupposes an intelligent designer or somebody that created humans. That's called begging the question, because you're already assuming the answer. You already have an answer in your head, and so you craft the question to perfectly fit that answer.
now, this is something that atheists do. They'll talk about something, I hate to say it, but ad nauseum. They'll talk about it till they're blue in the face, and it's not even the topic of discussion. Very, very windy, so I gotta yell.
You want to talk to us about it being us talking about it ad nauseum, you know, until we're blue in the face, what the fuck ever. And it's not even part of the discussion. Like, nothing that you've talked about is really part of the, like, the Yamaha bike. How's that fucking part of the discussion? You're comparing an intelligently designed machine to a natural process that we have. I know that you presuppose that God exists and that you just know I believe in God because you're a dickhead. It just amazes me how he tries to turn the tides on atheists and say, no, you're the one that's not staying on topic. How did everything get created? Because evolution can't account for that. Okay. Okay there, Billy. Why don't you go and sit in the corner and, don't talk to the other kids. You might spread the dumb.
When you are debating with an atheist and they're talking about evolution, just turn to them and say these words, well, big whoop-de-doo. You're talking about how things change over time. You're not talking about how they were created in the first place.
Okay, and you see, you know that thing that I just said, like a few seconds ago? Yeah, you're doing that exact thing right now, because how stuff was created isn't part of the conversation of evolution. How stuff was created is begging the question because it presupposes an intelligent designer. And you just rejecting a perfect explanation of evolution and how humans came to be in our present state just shows that you're not willing to accept somebody else's answer, that it has to be your answer. But don't you just love how he tries to flip the shit on us and say that we're being all talkative and not even talking about the right subject when it's him originally that is mixing up Like if you want to think about Frankenstein argument, like shit just sort of put together in odd places, this would be a fucked up Frankenstein. He's got like an arm coming out of his stomach. He's got an eyeball in his asshole. Like that's the kind of Frankenstein argument that we're talking about right now. Is he's trying to meld like 3 or 4 different scientific theories all together because that is what creation does, and that's what creation does to create tards, is it turns them into these people that mesh together scientific theories, and they end up not understanding it, and then Dunning-Kruger takes them over like a motherfucker.
Evolution does not, nor has it ever, answered that question. So my atheist friends, you can talk about evolution until you're blue in the face, like a smurf, but you're not answering the question, how was the Yamaha created? How were we created?
We weren't created, dipshit. We evolved over time out of a common ancestor with apes. We are still in the great ape family. We are still apes. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. There's Shock of God. Are you done yet? No? You still got more bullshit to spout?
Not answering it. You can't use abiogenesis, how things just pop from slime. And the atheists really have a tough sell, right? They want you to believe, and you'll see that atheists will say that you came from monkeys.
Actually, that's a little bit of a misnomer. We don't say that you came from monkeys, as monkeys are different from apes. We say that we came from apes. It's a totally different fucking thing. Try to stay on track. Quit with your fucking ooh shiny moments and skipping around all over fucking science. You either talk about abiogenesis or you talk about evolution. Pick one, please.
I have no evidence of this. Now, sometimes atheists will say that, I wonder why that cop's sitting there. He doesn't have his radar out. Sometimes atheists will say, well, the DNA of chimps and apes and humans are the same, and that's not really true.
Actually, that is true. We are really, really close genetically to apes. That's another thing that strengthens the evolutionary theory as far as us, being cousins with the apes. We are also part banana. Well, okay, we share 66% of our DNA code with bananas. Okay, I actually took some time to look up how much DNA we share with bananas, and it's actually 50%. So if you want to think about it, Ray Comfort is 50% banana.
The variation is so different that you would kill a human if you tried to use the chimp, ape, gorilla DNA.
What the fuck? Okay, but whatever the fuck this guy said. If you inject a human with ape blood, you will kill them? Of course you're gonna fucking kill them. If you inject another human's blood that doesn't have the right blood type and everything, you're gonna kill that human. It's called blood poisoning. Holy fuck. I don't even understand why you're fucking bringing this shit up. This doesn't make sense as an argument. If you inject the blood of an ape into you, you'll die. Holy fuck. Is water wet still? I mean, I need to go check my faucets. I just hope water's still wet. I hope that it's not coarse or some shit. But that is not what chimps or other apes having 96% the same DNA as ours even fucking means. What it means is that we are a close relative genetically to those animals. That is all. It doesn't mean that you can take some ape blood and inject it into yourself and boom, you got some free blood and coursing through. It's like I got ape blood coursing through my veins, people. I'm fucking King fucking Kong, motherfucker.
You would kill the human. You can't.
No fucking shit. Really.
I want to show you something. Let's say there's another Yamaha, it's called the FZ1. Now, I will admit, it looks very similar to this Yamaha, this R1 that I'm on. But it didn't pop out of the Yamaha R1. The reason why they look the same is they have the same designer. They have the same factory, the same design plan, if you will. I would put
And this is where all creationists lead. They lead down a path of saying, oh, that's just a sign of one designer. Basically, God took an ape, copy-pasted, and then just changed a few things. Basically, God's a lazy motherfucker up there doing copy-paste and fucking up shit left and right. When he copy and paste your baby into your womb, a lot of times he fucks up. That motherfucker should pay a bit more attention to what he's doing in Word. This is just moving the goalpost at this point. You've been shown that we share DNA with other organisms on this planet. That every organism shares some amount of the same DNA, which strengthens our evolutionary theory. But then what you have to do is you got to move the goalpost for God to say, oh, that just means that everybody got designed by the same person. Because nobody wants to like completely change the code that they're working off of. They just want to copy, paste, and just work with it right there. Why don't we have octopus people? Why isn't Cthulhu a thing? Like, why aren't these things if he could just copy and paste the motherfuckers? But that is where I'm going to leave his video today. There's about 10 more minutes of this shit. I'll do it again if you guys leave me enough comments down below, as well as like this motherfucker. Consider sharing this guy out. Don't forget to visit my links down below. I have a link to my Facebook, Twitter, just every fucking thing that you can think of where I'm at. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice.